The wrestling world has just been shaken to its very core, and what unfolded on this night will not be remembered as just another shocking twist in WWE but as one of those rare turning points that completely redefines an entire era, a night that will be talked about not only tomorrow or next week but for years, decades, and possibly generations to come, because what we witnessed was a moment that reshaped the power structure of professional wrestling forever. This was not the unveiling of just another faction, this was not the creation of just another storyline, this was the collision of genius, muscle, and madness into one alliance so dangerous, so unpredictable, and so calculated that even the most dominant force in WWE today may not survive it. The most brilliant mind in wrestling, the man who has built dynasties and torn them down with a single whisper, Paul Heyman, has aligned himself with the most destructive force the industry has ever known, the beast who has conquered every opponent put in front of him, Brock Lesnar, and together they have joined forces with the architect of chaos, the visionary, the unhinged but brilliant Seth Rollins. This is the birth of an alliance that could redefine everything we thought possible inside WWE. Before I break down the full story, the reasons this changes everything, and what it means for the bloodline and the future of WWE itself, I need you to smash that subscribe button, ring the notification bell so you don't miss a second of this evolving saga, and drop your predictions in the comments below, because this is only the beginning of a new chapter that will shake the WWE universe to its very core. Wrestlepalooza 2025 was already billed as legendary, but now it has crossed over into mythology because tonight it became the night when the balance of power shifted forever. For years the bloodline has stood unchallenged, Roman Reigns leading his empire with an iron fist, week after week stacking victory upon victory, turning challengers into footnotes, and establishing a dynasty that felt untouchable. But while Roman and his family tightened their grip on WWE, a storm was brewing in the shadows, a storm that has now arrived in the form of this unholy trinity. WWE had reached a breaking point because challengers were rising from every side, but none could truly dent the armor of the bloodline. The fans knew it, the locker room knew it, and even management knew it. Something was missing. There needed to be a counterforce, not just one superstar or one challenger, but a union so dangerous, so unexpected, and so meticulously crafted that it could destabilize everything the bloodline had built. That is exactly what Heyman, Lesnar, and Rollins have created. The night unfolded with Seth Rollins doing what he does best, standing in the center of the ring with a microphone, his laughter filling the air as he ranted and raved about his vision for the future, about tearing down the walls of WWE and replacing them with his revolution, his voice dripping with chaos, his body language radiating unpredictability. The fans were hooked, the energy inside the arena was electric, and then, in an instant, the entire atmosphere shifted. The lights went out, the arena was swallowed in darkness, and silence gripped the audience until a single spotlight hit the ramp, revealing Paul Heyman, standing tall with that sinister, knowing smirk that only he possesses. His voice echoed across the arena, cool, deliberate, and chilling as he told Rollins that every visionary, no matter how brilliant, needs heavy artillery, and with those words, history was made. Suddenly the familiar guitar riff blasted across the speakers, but it wasn't quite what fans expected, because it was Brock Lesnar's theme, altered, twisted, merged with Rollins' music into a dark new hybrid that told everyone listening this was not the beast incarnate they remembered. The crowd exploded in shock as Brock Lesnar emerged, but gone was the standard fight gear, gone was the familiar look. Instead this was a reinvented, reimagined Lesnar, a beast reborn and ready to unleash destruction in ways no one had seen before. The pieces came together instantly. Heyman's unrivaled strategic genius, Lesnar's unstoppable brute strength, and Rollins' anarchic charisma, energy, and revolutionary vision. Together they are not just dangerous, they are inevitable. They are the complete package, the brain, the brawn, and the chaos all fused into one destructive entity designed to dominate the entire industry. This alliance is not just about winning matches, it is about controlling narratives, manipulating storylines, and bending the very structure of WWE to their will. They can cut promos that hypnotize fans, play psychological games that break down their opponents long before a bell rings, and when it comes to physical dominance, nobody can stand toe-to-toe with them in the ring. They can headline any pay-per-view, they can carry the main event of WrestleMania, they can create shock moments that will be replayed for decades, and they can turn every appearance into an event that shakes the very core of the wrestling world. And at the center of it all is Paul Heyman, the ultimate mastermind, the man who took Roman Reigns to heights nobody thought possible, the man who built Brock Lesnar into a global icon, and now the man who has merged his legacy with Seth Rollins' vision to create the most dangerous trio the WWE has ever seen. This isn't just a faction, this is a revolution. The bloodline may have ruled unopposed, but what stands before them now is not another challenger, it is an empire built on chaos, destruction, and brilliance. History has seen powerful groups before, from Evolution to DX, from the Shield to the NWO, but never before has there been a faction with this balance of intellect, muscle, and unpredictability, and that is why many are already calling this the most dangerous alliance in wrestling history. The only question left is simple yet terrifying: who can possibly stop them? Can Roman Reigns rally his family and fight back against this storm, or has the era of the tribal chief finally reached its end? Can the locker room unite to stand against them, or will WWE fall piece by piece as Heyman, Lesnar, and Rollins carve out their new empire? What is clear is that tonight was not just about an entrance or a shocking twist. Tonight was the dawn of a new era, the beginning of a revolution, and the rewriting of WWE history. This is the biggest story in wrestling today, and the journey has only just begun, so like this video, leave your predictions in the comments, and stay tuned because the world you knew inside WWE has been shattered and rebuilt, and nothing will ever be the same again. The wrestling world has just experienced a turning point so monumental that fans, superstars, and even industry veterans are still struggling to process it because what unfolded was not simply another shocking twist in WWE storytelling but a moment that reshapes the very foundation of the company and redefines what the future of sports entertainment looks like. For years, WWE has been built around dominant forces, legendary factions, and rivalries that push the limits of imagination, but tonight something new was born. Something far more dangerous, far more unpredictable, and far more powerful than anything we have seen before. In an alliance nobody could have imagined, the most cunning mind in professional wrestling, the man who has manipulated giants and masterminded dynasties, has joined hands with the most destructive beast to ever step inside the squared circle, and together they have aligned with the most chaotic visionary of his generation. Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins have come together to form what might go down as the most dangerous alliance in the history of WWE, and the ripple effects of this union will be felt across every brand, every storyline, and every arena for years to come. Before we break down exactly how this happened and why it changes everything, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update, and drop your thoughts in the comments because the wrestling world is officially on fire after this shocking revelation. Wrestlepalooza 2025 was already hyped as an event destined to make history, but now it has become the night that redefined the power structure of WWE, the night when the playing field tilted and the balance of dominance shifted in a way that no one saw coming. Roman Reigns and his bloodline had been building an empire, week after week solidifying themselves as the most dominant force in modern wrestling, crushing challengers, forging alliances, and expanding their grip over the company. But while the spotlight was on them, another storm was quietly forming in the shadows, a storm that has now unleashed itself in the most destructive fashion imaginable. WWE has been suffering from a power vacuum where challengers tried and failed to topple the bloodline, where no single superstar or group could match Roman's dynasty, but tonight the missing piece of the puzzle finally snapped into place, and the counterforce the WWE Universe had been waiting for was born. It began with Seth Rollins, the visionary himself, standing in the middle of the ring, microphone in hand, his trademark manic laughter echoing through the arena as he spoke about his grand plan for the future, about tearing down the old guard and ushering in his revolution. The crowd hung on every word, the energy was boiling over, and then everything shifted. The lights went out, the arena was plunged into total darkness, and tension gripped the audience like a vice. When the lights returned, a single spotlight illuminated the entrance ramp, and there stood Paul Heyman, smirking in that way only he can, exuding confidence, intelligence, and menace all at once. His voice boomed across the arena as he addressed Rollins, acknowledging his vision but reminding him that every revolution, no matter how inspired, needs heavy artillery, and that was the moment everything clicked into place. Then came the sound that changed everything. Brock Lesnar's theme song, but not the version fans knew. It was distorted, fused with Seth Rollins' music, twisted into a sinister hybrid that symbolized a brand new chapter. The WWE Universe erupted as Brock Lesnar emerged, not in his familiar fight gear but reimagined, reinvented, and more intimidating than ever. In that instant, the pieces fell into place. Heyman's unmatched brilliance, Lesnar's raw destructive power, and Rollins' unhinged charisma and revolutionary vision had fused into one entity, and with that fusion came the birth of an alliance unlike any other. This wasn't a random pairing, this wasn't an unstable partnership, this was deliberate, calculated, and dangerous. Together, they represent the complete package. The brain, the brawn, and the chaos, a trio designed not to survive in WWE but to dominate it entirely. The potential of this alliance is limitless. They can cut promos that hypnotize audiences, manipulate storylines to bend in their favor, and when the time comes, destroy their opponents inside the ring with brutality that no one can withstand. They are capable of headlining WrestleMania after WrestleMania, carrying storylines that span years, and creating moments so unforgettable that fans will talk about them for generations to come. And the mastermind behind it all is Paul Heyman, a man who has already proven time and time again that he can take talent and elevate it into legend, who can craft empires and destroy them with a single whisper, and now with Lesnar and Rollins by his side he has put together a force that might be unstoppable. This is not just another faction like DX, Evolution, The Shield, or even the Bloodline. This alliance has something none of those groups ever had. The perfect balance of intelligence, power, and chaos, a combination so dangerous that it might not just dominate the WWE but reinvent it entirely. The question now is not whether they will succeed, the question is who can possibly stop them. Can Roman Reigns and the Bloodline rise to the occasion and defend their empire, or has the era of the tribal chief come to its end? Will WWE's superstars unite against this new force, or will they fall one by one, leaving Heyman, Lesnar, and Rollins to claim absolute power? One thing is certain, what we witnessed tonight was not a moment, it was the beginning of a revolution, a paradigm shift, and the dawn of a new era. This is the biggest story in wrestling today, and it's only just beginning, so like this video, leave your predictions below, and stay tuned because WWE will never be the same again. The wrestling world has been shaken to its core, and what unfolded inside that arena will be talked about for decades to come because this was not just another shocking twist, it was the kind of seismic moment that redefines an entire era. Nobody in the WWE universe could have foreseen it, yet it happened before our eyes. The most dangerous mastermind in the industry, the man who has manipulated legends, built empires, and orchestrated chaos from behind the scenes, has aligned himself with the most destructive force to ever step foot inside a wrestling ring, and together they have brought in the architect of chaos, the visionary who thrives on unpredictability, to form the ultimate alliance. This isn't a team, this isn't a faction, this is the storm on the horizon, the kind of destructive union that can rip through the WWE and reshape everything we thought we knew. Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins have now become one unstoppable unit, and their arrival as a collective force changes the landscape of professional wrestling forever. Before we dive into just how massive this is and what it means for every superstar, every storyline, and every fan watching at home, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now, ring that notification bell so you never miss a second of this unfolding chaos, and stay with us because this is the kind of breaking story that only comes once in a generation. Wrestlepalooza 2025 was already touted as a legendary event, but after what happened tonight it will be remembered in history books as the night the balance of power shifted and the very foundation of WWE was cracked wide open. Roman Reigns and his bloodline have been sitting on top of the mountain, strengthening their empire, forging new alliances, and crushing opponents one by one, but while they were basking in dominance, another force was forming quietly in the shadows, a power waiting for its moment to strike, a coalition that doesn't care about rules, tradition, or hierarchy but instead is built on strategy, muscle, and madness. For weeks, WWE has been on the brink of a power vacuum, with challengers failing to dent the bloodline's armor, fans wondering who could possibly rise to meet them, and questions hanging over whether any single star was capable of turning the tide. The truth was, no one individual could do it alone. It was going to take a formula so precise and so dangerous that only a man like Paul Heyman could conceive it. WWE needed a counterforce, something unpredictable and unmatched, and tonight we saw that answer come to life. The scene unfolded in classic Rollins fashion. Seth Rollins stood in the center of the ring, microphone in hand, his manic laugh cutting through the crowd as he spoke passionately about his vision for the future, a future where he sat at the top of WWE. The energy was electric, his words hypnotizing, when suddenly, the arena plunged into darkness. The hush that fell over the crowd was deafening, broken only by the buzz of anticipation. Then, a single spotlight illuminated the entrance ramp, and standing there with that sly grin that instantly sends chills down the spine of every fan was Paul Heyman. His voice echoed like thunder as he addressed Rollins, declaring that every visionary, every revolution, needs heavy artillery, and in that moment, everything changed. Suddenly, the speakers blasted with the familiar sound of Brock Lesnar's entrance music, but it wasn't the same as fans had always known. It was distorted, blended with Seth Rollins' theme into a hybrid anthem of destruction and chaos, a signal that something new was being born. The crowd erupted in disbelief as Brock Lesnar emerged, but this wasn't the beast incarnate we've grown accustomed to. This was a reinvented Lesnar, stepping out with a look that signaled rebirth, transformation, and absolute menace. And there it was, the unholy trinity, the perfect balance of elements: Paul Heyman's razor-sharp intellect and manipulation, Brock Lesnar's unrivaled brute strength and destructive capability, and Seth Rollins' unstable energy, charisma, and revolutionary vision. This was not a coincidence, this was not temporary, this was deliberate and calculated, and it is destined to rewrite the history of WWE. The potential of this alliance is terrifying. They can dominate any promo, control every storyline, and dictate the pace of the entire company. They are capable of main-eventing WrestleMania, headlining Survivor Series, tearing through SummerSlam, and leaving a trail of broken legends in their wake. With Heyman pulling the strings, Lesnar enforcing with violence, and Rollins masterminding chaos, this group is an unstoppable force designed to dominate. It was Paul Heyman's genius that birthed this alliance, and his track record of turning great men into icons proves that this is far more than a shocking twist. It is a long-term strategy to seize control of WWE itself. This is the dawn of a new empire, one so dangerous that even the bloodline should be afraid. This is not simply about championships, this is about control, dominance, and rewriting the narrative of what power in WWE looks like. Fans are already calling this the most dangerous alliance in WWE history, and it is hard to argue. Every faction that has come before, from DX to the Shield to Evolution to the Bloodline, has carved its place in the history books, but this trio has the potential to surpass them all because it blends elements no other faction ever had: the cold intellect of Heyman, the raw power of Lesnar, and the unstable genius of Rollins. Together, they are not just a team, they are an inevitability. This is the biggest story in wrestling right now, and you cannot afford to miss what comes next. The only question left hanging is this: who, if anyone, can stop them? Is Roman Reigns prepared to watch his empire crumble? Can the bloodline survive this new storm, or are we standing on the edge of a new era where Heyman, Lesnar, and Rollins reshape the entire WWE landscape? Like this video, share your predictions in the comments, and stay locked in with us because what we witnessed tonight was the birth of something historic, the rise of the most dangerous alliance ever formed, and the beginning of a revolution that will change WWE forever. The wrestling world has been flipped on its head and the shockwaves are still rattling fans, analysts, and even the superstars themselves. In a moment that nobody could have possibly predicted, the most brilliant strategist in the industry has joined forces with the most destructive force we have ever seen, and together they are now aligned with the architect of chaos himself. This is not just another storyline. This is not just another faction. This is history in the making, and you need to witness it with your own eyes. Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar, and Seth Rollins have officially formed what could only be described as the most dangerous alliance WWE has ever dared to put together. Before we dive deeper into the fallout and the future, make sure you smash that subscribe button, tap the notification bell so you never miss an update, and lock yourself in because this changes absolutely everything. Now picture the scene. Wrestlepalooza 2025 was already hyped as one of the most unforgettable shows of the modern era, but after tonight, it has solidified itself as legendary. As Roman Reigns and his bloodline continue to build their empire, asserting dominance week after week, and forging ties that extend across enemy lines, another power has been waiting, watching, and growing in the shadows. A force that doesn't play by the old rules. A force that doesn't follow the blueprint of the past. Instead, this new union is rewriting the very definition of what it means to be a faction in professional wrestling. WWE has been facing a crisis. The bloodline has become stronger than ever, ruling the company like a dynasty. Meanwhile, challengers from all sides have been stepping up, but no single entity had the formula to topple Roman's empire. What was missing was a true counterbalance, an alliance so unexpected, so powerful, and so explosive that it could shake the foundations of WWE itself. The equation wasn't simple. WWE needed an alliance that had raw muscle, the sharpest strategy, and an element of chaos that no one could prepare for. And tonight, we witnessed that exact formula come together. It started with Seth Rollins inside the ring, pacing back and forth, his trademark grin plastered across his face as he delivered one of his electrifying, manic promos about his vision for the future of WWE. His words cut through the arena, his energy boiling over, and then, suddenly, the lights went out. The arena was swallowed in darkness. Silence gave way to tension. When a single spotlight flickered on, standing at the top of the entrance ramp was Paul Heyman, wearing that smug, knowing smirk that only he can deliver. Heyman's voice echoed across the stunned arena as he addressed Rollins, calling him a visionary but reminding him that every revolution needs something more, every revolution needs its heavy artillery. And that's when it happened. The familiar guitar riff hit the speakers, but this wasn't the usual entrance music. It was Brock Lesnar's theme blended with Seth Rollins' entrance, distorted and reimagined into something far more sinister. The fans erupted, but this wasn't the beast incarnate we were used to seeing. Lesnar stepped out not in his traditional fight gear, but with a look that screamed reinvention. Together, this trio stood as a complete package. Heyman's unmatched intellect and manipulative brilliance, Lesnar's sheer brute force and unmatched dominance, and Rollins' unhinged charisma and revolutionary vision. This wasn't just a stable. This was the embodiment of strategy, destruction, and chaos. The implications of this alliance are staggering. They have the potential to dominate promos. control the narrative of every single WWE program, and wreak absolute havoc inside the ring. They can main event any pay-per-view, headline any WrestleMania, and create shock moments that will echo across generations. Make no mistake, this isn't a short-term partnership. This is the kind of move that reshapes the very power structure of WWE. And the mastermind behind it all is Paul Heyman, the man who has already cemented himself as the greatest manipulator in the history of professional wrestling. With Lesnar and Rollins by his side, he has created the most dangerous alliance the WWE Universe has ever seen. This is the biggest story in wrestling right now, and if you're not subscribed, you're going to miss every twist and turn. Where do they go from here? Who can possibly stop them? Is Roman Reigns' bloodline prepared for this storm, or are we about to enter a brand new era where Heyman's empire reigns supreme? Like this video, drop your predictions in the comments, and get ready, because the future of WWE has just been rewritten before our very eyes.